Greetings, we are going to be looking at South Africa's most notorious gangs. The following is not going to be in no specific order. We are just going to be looking at the gangs that are involved in South Africa's gang warfare. The first gang we're going to be looking at today is the Americans, probably the largest gang that was operating in the Western Cape. The Americans were headed by the notoriously ruthless Jackie Lonte from his home in Belgravia Estate. He was gunned down in the street amongst other gang leaders in the late 90s. The Americans were the first gang to flood the Cape Town market with cocaine and crack. Of the Ruthless gang dress in blue, white, and red, thus reflecting how they compared themselves to the Americans who suffered segregation. Upon joining, you are told that from that day forward, you must be prepared to die at any given time. The second gang we're going to be looking at is the Hard Living gangs. After the Americans, the Hard Living gang are considered the second largest gang in Cape Town. The gang was founded in 1971 by twin brothers Rashid and Rashad Stegi in the Menenberg neighborhood. As the criminal enterprise grew, rivalries grew from rival factions. Things were heated when one of the brothers, Rashid Stegi, was publicly set on fire by a vigilante group in 1996. The gang remained active in the drug trade and has been known to have allied with the Sicilian Mafia and the Chinese triads. The gang has a strong presence in Sea Point or Greenpoint. The gang is also known to be involved in a range of illegal activities, including drug running, diamond smuggling, protection, racketeering, prostitution, and shebeaning. The next gang we're going to be looking at is the Sexy Boys, known most for their drug running and reckless racketeering. The Sexy Boys were founded in the Chestnut Place, Belhare area of Cape Town. The gang has a reputation for brutality and murder. Most of the gang's leadership was sent to prison in the early 2000s, but the gang still flourishes today as a leading criminal enterprise. The next gang we'll be looking at is known as The Firm, which was formed in the early 1990s. Gangs in Cape Town were amalgamated into one force, which was more organized. This helped The Firm to grow into a major player in the underworld activities. They are mainly known for running the drug trade in Mandrax, as well as shebeaning. The gang was also known to be participating in activities of fraud, which are known as white-collar crime, unlike their other counterparts around them. The leader of the gang, which was the founder, Colin Stanfield, was convicted and imprisoned for a similar crime. The next gang we're going to be giving a look at is one of Cape Town's oldest gang, the Mongrels. The gang operated in District 6 before it was bulldozed in terms of the Apartheid Group Act. The gang was founded by Ismail Bobby Mongrel. Mongrels do not take kindly to people who come from the outside of their territory, in which they find themselves often involved in massive shootouts and gun violence. They accounted for a large percentage of the city's gang-related homicides. The gang is mainly involved in drugs, shebeaning operations, and illegal trade. This is why they are mostly involved in territorial wars, as they are looking for new turfs to set up new outlets. The last gang we're going to be having a look at is probably the most notorious of all the gangs in South Africa, which is the Numbers Gang. It is largely operated in South African prisons, infamously known as South Africa's oldest gang. The Numbers Gang was founded in the late 1980s by two men who formed it as a way to protect themselves from inhumane treatment in mines. The gang is divided into three factions: namely the 26th, the 27th, and the 28th. All the numbers have different responsibilities in the gang. For example, the 26s are responsible for robbery and making money for the gang. The 27s, who are responsible for security or protection of the gang. And the 28s, who are the high-ranking and also the generals of the gang, who are predominantly in charge of most of the activities that take place within the prison walls. The number operates with a code of silence, and gang members use a code language called the Sabella. This is to make sure that only people who are within the prison walls understand the language, and those who are told by members understand the operations of the gang.